Mm-hmm.
All right. So I think I know everybody on this call, but I thought maybe we could just really quickly let people introduce themselves and say what club you're from. So Jessica, you're first on my screen if you want to start.
Hi, I'm Jess Ryan. I am with the Rotary of St. Clairsville. We are right next to the Panhandle of West Virginia.
And they're doing some creative stuff with membership. I did the facilitation with them, and it was one of the most fun Zoom calls I've been on. Funnest, most fun, I don't know. Funnest. It was the funnest Zoom call.
Well, thank you. They're a great group. I love our club.
And then I have MJ. I think everyone should know who the DG line is, but we have MJ next.
Hello, everyone. Mary Jane Shackelford, the Rotary Club of Zanesville Daybreak. Woohoo! I have my sign with me at all times.
And then I have Steve, who at this point probably doesn't need an introduction, but if you want to say anything, Steve, the floor is yours.
Well, yes, Steve Heiser, Columbus Rotary District Governor, but it seems like this has been a big membership week. A lot of talk about membership, and I'm glad you're all on, because there's no two ways about it. You know, to me, fellowship and service is what Rotary is about, and it's hard to have fellowship if you don't have other members in the club. So I'm glad we're all getting together. This will be good. Thank you.
Awesome. And Price.
Hi, everybody. Price Finley, District Governor nominee, and kind of working closely with Jenny on the new club, Innovative Clubs initiative. And we had the meeting earlier this week. I thought it went really well. So more to come.
Mm-hmm.
Awesome. And then I have Chet.
Hey everyone, Chet Pritchett from Athens Sunrise Rotary, membership chair.
He's starting some good conversations in our club. I haven't actually, I've been absent from Rotary for a couple weeks, so I missed the good conversations, but I've heard great things. And I have Dana on my screen next.
Hi everyone, Dana Vogelmeyer, Columbus Rotary, and I am our membership chair.
Great. And Dana, I think I got the other person added that you had asked to add to my list, so I hope that they got the emails too.
She did. So apparently she just couldn't make it tonight. I'm hoping she's going to take over for me as membership chair next year.
Cool, cool. And then last but not least, Mary.
Hi everyone, I'm Mary Hildebrand. I'm also from the Zanesville Daybreak Woohoo Club. And this is my first year as co-chair on the membership committee, so I'm learning lots of new things.
Cool. So like I said, I just kind of pulled membership chairs to ask, because I realized that we do a lot of training and networking for like presidents and even secretaries, and I noticed that there wasn't a lot on that we were doing for membership chairs specifically. And I also have noticed that membership chairs in one club is not what it means in other clubs. So, you know, each club kind of tackles the work a little bit differently. So I thought that's what prompted me to reach out and see if anyone would be interested in having a regular gathering of membership people. And certainly if there are other people in your club or other people on your membership committee that would be interested in joining, I really want these to just kind of be idea generating meetings. But I also polled all of you, thank you for those that filled out the survey, but I polled about what topics you'd be most interested in. And so I basically just went from the one that had the most votes, and kind of that's how I made the agendas. So the one that got the most votes was creatively engaging your membership. I know it's like on the top of all of our minds as we're all meeting in different ways now and losing touch with people. So I did put together a little PowerPoint just to keep the conversation going, but I don't really want you to think of this as a presentation, as it really is more of a conversation. So stop me, interrupt me at any time. And I also I'll share the PowerPoint as well with everyone. It has some links embedded in it, so I'll make sure I email that out. But my hope is that we'll have a little catalog of membership conversations once we're through. So there's all the topics and the dates for the upcoming ones. The topics are tentative. So if we start a really good conversation tonight and that maybe needs, means that our November one needs to look different, I'm completely okay with that. I just did this for planning purposes, and I'd love to try and get like maybe some of our regional membership team from Rotary International. I'm sure they would hop on the calls with us if, so they can, talk to us about what's coming down the pipe. So we can take this wherever we want it to go. So I thought first it would just be good to hear from everyone on, I think we have, four different clubs represented on what, as the membership chair of your club, what are your primary responsibilities? And there is no right or wrong answer. I just want to get a good feel. And then that way you can hear what other people are doing. So I don't know if one of the membership chairs would want to start and just share a little bit about what your job is, Chair.
Sure, this is Jess with St. Clairsville. Can you hear me okay?
Yes.
Okay, I'm in the car, so I don't know what's going on. So I guess it's important for me to tell you that I think I'm our first membership chair, or at least I'm the first one since I've been in the club for 4 years. So my job is to increase membership, and I know that sounds very basic, but we're also building a way for us to engage members that are newer, that are under a couple of years. So I'm not the person who's responsible for that, but I do have that like mentor person who has started that. And I'm also the greeter now, and so we start to employ a greeter, just making sure people feel welcome when they show up. We do have to grow membership at some point, and I think that's probably one of the topics that those people wanted, is because we're not real sure how to do that in a pandemic, although we are meeting, and that's wonderful. But I guess, yeah, my primary goal is to keep the membership happy and to grow and invite future members.
Awesome. Great. Thanks, Jess. Mary or Chet, or Dana, would you all like to share?
I'll go next.
Thank you.
So we actually restructured our membership committee going into this year. So we're a little different than we had been, but we kind of broke ourselves into a couple of different subgroups. So we have a group that focuses on recruiting, one that focuses on retention and engagement, one that focuses on onboarding and orientation, and then social, which also kind of works with retention and engagement. But retention and engagement, we're trying to go from 10% attrition to 8% attrition. So we have some specific tactics that we've created to try to reduce the attrition. But the social, the reason we moved it over was because the fellowship that Steve was talking about at the onset, like if we know people are getting together and having fun and we're meeting those needs, then they're more likely to stay. Also in the retention and engagement, we just started, if somebody turns in their resignation, then we have one of our members who's going to call them and just first of all see if it's a financial issue, and if so, could we put them in our angel fund to kind of keep them on. And we want to ask them what was it that they liked best about the club, and what was it that they would change, or did something happen that made them leave, so that we can first of all try to keep them, but secondly get a little intel that we can work from too. So I'm sure there's a lot more that I'm leaving out, but I'm going to pause there for now.
Awesome. Thanks. And Dana is from Columbus Rotary, which is one of our largest, either the largest or second largest, I think, club in the district, or definitely in the top 3, I would say, if not the first. So they're a little bit bigger. I bet her committee is probably a lot bigger than many clubs are. So.
I think there's about 10 on our committee.
Yeah, that's awesome.
This is Mary. I can go next if you want me to.
Sure.
Okay. Our club actually this year, we had 2 separate committees, our new member, which was onboarding, and then our member retention. And they decided to combine them, which so far has worked really well. That way, we work together with getting them in and also retaining them. I've also this year been working with fellowship. I've kind of working with her too. as Dana said, you know, you want to get them in there, you want to keep them happy, and so they'll stay. So working all together with those committees seems to be a really good plan. I'm particularly, the part of it that I'm co-chair is the onboarding. So we have our process for, you know, getting people on board. What's really seemed to help in the last couple years is our social media presence on Facebook and Twitter, I think, has we've got quite a few new members that way.
Yeah, awesome. Thanks, Mary. How about chats?
Yeah, so with Athens Sunrise, when I took over this role last year, basically I was just kind of told, oh, you just make sure that, you know, new members are, you know, put through the application process and you do all that kind of new member stuff. And so for a year, I did that kind of on my own in isolation from things. And this year we decided to kind of create a membership committee. And so I now have about 4 or 5 other people on that committee. And one of the things that 2 people on the committee felt very compelled to do is to create an onboarding program with new members that would kind of give you a Rotary pal to help you help answer any questions that folks have about Rotary. You know, those questions that we all have, like, who the heck is Paul Harris and why do I want to be his fellow? And why does, you know, why does Rotary have an emphasis on polio, and, you know, other crazy things. Maybe even just helping someone memorize the 4-way test, you know, things like that. So creating that bond with someone who's already a member in that way. So so we're very excited to start the planning process for that.
Awesome. I find myself always, when I have more so in traditional meetings, like where we're in person, but I always find myself feeling the urge to explain to people the weirdness of Rotary. Like I'll say, so welcome to Rotary. Here's some weird stuff you need to know. A bell is going to ring and we are all going to stand up suddenly. So just kind of, hey, welcome to Rotary. Here's some stuff you should know. Okay. So I'll make sure I send this PowerPoint out, but these are just a couple really quick resources that can help you if you're just kind of thinking through the membership committee, or if you want to check out any kind of like training related to membership. So there's a great section on club committees that talks a little bit about membership. But then I think that the reference topic, if you go to that third link, is the one I think is really useful, because it just has a million topics. If you're, you know, thinking about onboarding or tons of learning center courses, stuff like that. The one in the middle is from our district, which is the Maintaining Engagement and Increasing Engagement guides, which include like service projects, meeting best practices, things like that. Okay, so when I thought about getting creative with engagement, I kind of found myself putting it into these kind of buckets, if you will. So kind of engaging through service, you know, kind of, you can see them all there listed, but personal connections, the value of Rotary being like personal and professional development, that kind of more formal networking aspect of Rotary. Fellowship, as Steve often points out, kind of maximizing our use of club flexibility to keep people engaged, which I think Dana kind of alluded to a little bit, recognition of members, and then kind of all those other value of Rotary. You know, sometimes we really focus on the club experience, and for some people, the magic of Rotary kind of happens when they realize the magnitude of this organization across the world. So some of these we'll just kind of briefly touch on because they're actually bigger topics that we'll cover, that I plan to cover in later meetings. But as the membership chairs, I think one of your jobs, regardless of your actual tasks that you do to help your club move smoothly, is to think about everything through a lens of engagement, because really everything is an opportunity to engage, even if you know, say your club has sold tree saplings for the last 20 years, and that's always the project you do, and the same person has done it for the last 10 years. Well, that's really an opportunity, you know, has managed it and coordinated it. So it's really an opportunity for engagement if you pull other people into that process. So, you know, just, I think as the membership chair, you can kind of be that lens, that membership lens and that engagement lens, and thinking through, you know, what are the opportunities here, but then also looking at what are the barriers. Do you have something for everyone in your club? Here at the virtual summit that's coming up on October 10th, past district governor Sigrid Solomon and I are doing a workshop that's really all about dismantling barriers for people to experience Rotary. So just really thinking about it through that lens, I think, is a lot of times what the membership chair can do and can be really helpful in your club's leadership. So I wanted to briefly talk about engagement through service and hear from each of you on just sharing some of your ideas. I do want to point out that we have several things on our website that are kind of ready to go projects. I've been calling them pocket projects. I don't know why. That's a really weird name. I would gladly take advice for a name change, but that's what it seems, because they're like kind of like little, you know, projects in a box almost.
We call them pop-ups.
Yes.
Yeah, pop-up projects, that's better, yeah. So I think there's like 7 of them on there. I'm working on adding a couple more, but they're things that would be very easily adapted and pandemic friendly, or at least safe to do in a pandemic. But I wanted to hear just briefly from the membership chairs that are on tonight of ways that you've been able to keep people involved or keep people engaged in service, so we can just kind of share a couple ideas or share your favorite few things that have happened in your club.
So, and assuming that we're going to go in the same order we just went in, then I will go first, I guess.
Sure.
We have a flag project, which we actually borrowed the idea from another Rotary in Ohio. But we do a flag project where we put out American flags for every national holiday that's coming up. And that's a way that we have many sold, over 100, might be close to 200. I'm not the one to speak on that side of things, but we all have our individual groups of 4 that go out together and put the flags up. And then there's another group that goes out and picks them up and puts them away. And there's a lot of coordination there. So it keeps us all working together through all the holidays and to schedule times and everything for us to spend time together outside of that area. So we also have our dictionary project coming up, which I know many Rotaries do. Normally we try to do that early when school starts, but obviously things have been so bonkers that we haven't been able to get that done yet, but that's coming up soon. And then we also pair off with different Rotarians. We try to encourage people not to just pick their buddy that they go to lunch with all the time, but pick another Rotarian to team up with to take dictionaries to the schools. Now, again, that looks different this year. We're probably just going to take them and drop them off and not go in and talk to the kids. But those are the 2 projects that we're working on right now.
Awesome. Yeah, I think that the flag project, I know there's a lot of moving pieces there, but it's a, you know, way it seems, at least as I stalk you all on social media, it seems like a way to get a lot of people in your club involved.
Yeah, and it's also very popular in the community. That's one that we'll post and we're all laughing and, you know, having fun when we go out and do it. We always post to social media, and I will inevitably run into someone saying, oh, you know, you're in the St. Clair Rotary. It looks like you guys have so much fun. And then that's an opportunity for me to do my elevator speech of recruitment.
Yeah, hook 'em.
So I'll share a couple of things that we're doing. We go to the Ronald McDonald House once per month and serve food. And because of social distancing, they're only allowing 6 people at a time in the kitchen. We actually make food and serve food. So we just have a sign up genius, and we're just encouraging new members and saying this is a good way to meet people. And the other thing that we have coming up is from the fall, well, 2 things from the fall seminar. One is we're going to get together in a park and everybody just bring a lawn chair, and we're going to make those visors for Form 5 prosthetics. And that's coming up mid-October. And then we're going to do the Thanksgiving food drive for the after school All-Stars. It was on the fall seminar too. So we're just encouraging everybody to, continue to participate as they can while we're doing things socially distanced.
Awesome. Yeah, and right now we have the advantage of being able to do things outside fairly simply. So that's been a good advantage. Anyone else, Mary or Chet, want to share?
Yeah, I'll go. Go ahead, Chad.
Go ahead, you go.
I forgot the exact order, so I wasn't sure. We've done, and actually when you said that, we actually call them pop-up projects, just because obviously everything's different. So we try to once a month get ideas and things for pop-up projects. And some new things we did this year, we wanted to recognize our first responders. So we got together gift bags and had some gift certificates to Tom's Ice Cream Bowl, which Zanesville is known for, and other things in there. And we went around to the fire departments, emergency, the ambulance and that type of thing, and presented those to them and just talked and, to let them know how much we appreciate, and the police and sheriff departments too. And then our other pop-up project was when the teachers started back to school, we put together goodie bags, had inspirational cards in there. We made cards, people signed them, put messages on them from Rotary, it was really cute too, had a really cute Dr. Seuss saying on it. Just telling them how much, we appreciate what they do and how important they are. And we're currently now collecting food for our pantry that we'll be donating for that too. So I love all these ideas I get on here because they're wanting ideas for pop-up projects. So I can pass these along.
Awesome. Chat, you want to share?
Yeah, here in Athens, we've taken a new twist on service projects for this year. Instead of having a service chair per se, each month someone can volunteer to lead a service project. And so last month, our service project, we got signs. We each made signs for local social service agencies. We've given love to, first responders. We've given love to our frontline medical workers during this pandemic. So we also wanted to give love to social service agencies. So some of them received, treat bags. Some of them received signs, cards, those kinds of things. So that was fun. And recognizing social distancing, we have a couple kind of perennial projects that Athens Sunrise does that we have worked to turn into social distancing events. So our famous Paddle for Polio Plus will be an all digital experience this year. We'll have an Instagram scavenger hunt and our world famous paddle t-shirts. And in November, we'll be doing our Rotary 30, which is kind of 30 days of kindness, random acts of kindness kinds of things. And this year, the team that's working on that, each of the 4 weeks will be, 4 or 5 weeks will be around Rotary areas of concern. And so both of those will have a heavy social media context to it, getting the word out about cool things that Rotary does service-wise in the community and around the world.
Awesome. Thanks everyone for sharing. I think that's so many of our clubs are in the district are doing such cool things, and it's just making sure that we're all like sharing that knowledge with each other and stuff. So this one, I thought a lot of membership chairs, I think, are shifting into this role of kind of helping to keep people connected to each other. So, we all probably, as we've shifted to virtual or tried hybrid meetings, we have those couple members that, we haven't heard from in a while, or maybe we're a little worried about if they're still engaged at all. So I didn't know if anyone had any ideas that have been successful. Or are you going to share a strategy that's been successful? And then specifically, does your club have an outreach plan, or it's almost more of an in-reach plan for disengaged members, people you haven't heard from in a while? So what are you all doing?
Something that we did for our board meeting was kind of go around and say, these are the members that were pretty active prior to COVID that haven't seemed to be involved. And we talked about how to reach out to them. But when we looked at the list, everyone kind of was like, oh, well, I'll take that person, I'll take that person, I'll take that person. And we picked 10 of the ones who were most active prior to that. So when we were doing that, we found that there were, you're distracting me. Sorry, hold on one second, children in the car. I was able to reach out I knew I could reach this person through Facebook Messenger. I knew this person would probably respond to my email. I knew this one would probably respond to text. So the people I was reaching out to, I never even actually picked up the phone and called. I reached out to them and said, hey, Rotary's been good. If there is if there's anything I can do to get you back, let me know. The one I just reached out to and I said, hey, I know that in the banking world, there are restrictions in place. We're meeting outside and being socially distant. If you're able to join, let me know. And then the one person is a buddy of mine. So I kind of gave him a hard time, like, I miss your face. Can you come back around? And 2 of the 3 that were on my list to get out to came back to Rotary. And there are other people in our group that did the same thing and with the same results. So I think there were some you can't get, some are too scared, some have office restrictions, but having them reach out, the one response was actually from the banker was like, nope, we don't have those restrictions. I don't have an excuse. See you Tuesday. So that was just a very basic, easy way to reach out to people, and it worked out well for us.
Yeah, I think I've heard that clubs have had really good success with that tactic. I know some clubs call it Rotary Pals or board buddies. I've heard a term, that term used, and it does just seem like personally connecting with someone and saying, hey, what's, do you need support? Do you need help? Like, do you, whatever it is, to be helpful. I know the other Athens club, the Noon Club, they realized that people were having a hard time with the technology. So I know that they went out and were kind of like, I think one of them was talking like through someone's window, and they were holding up an iPad, like to right in the beginning of the lockdown, like trying to get it figured out. So they were quite committed to it. So great. Thanks for sharing. I also wanted to talk a little bit about some of more personal and professional development as an opportunity to engage members. The most obvious one is the networking one, which of course, a lot of people get involved with Rotary because they're looking to just connect with people, either personally or professionally. I think we're really good at that one. We do have the new collaboration with Toastmasters. I know Bryce isn't on here, but the New Albany Club was one of the first clubs, I think, in our district to really find a way to work together with Toastmasters. So I think taking advantage of that relationship, and I, have been in Athens my entire professional life, and I had no idea that we had a Toastmasters in our area until they came to Rotary and gave a presentation about it. And then I learned some people I've known forever are in Toastmasters, and I had no idea. So I think just finding out if there is a Toastmasters in your area would be a great start. But yeah, Dana, thanks. Inviting like the president or people from Toastmasters to come and meet and, just see what kind of collaboration you can do. Together. I know Rotary released their first kind of getting the most out of this partnership guide. It's up on the My Rotary website, but get creative with it. Has anyone else, I know Chet and I happen to be in the same club, so I know that we actually, I think, had Toastmasters coming to our club before the partnership, and we have several members of our club who I think are involved with Toastmasters. But I just want to point that out. A lot of clubs I am hearing are having a lot of success with like workshop type meetings, where especially if they're meeting on Zoom, because right, you kind of want to keep trying to mix it up if you're Zooming or meeting, Teams or whatever. But doing workshop meetings where they plan a project or maybe do a service project. I know, I think Dana's club has done this in probably smaller groups, right, where you guys have done a service project all together kind of while you're meeting. So thinking about that, I've seen it be really successful to get people engaged and kind of makes them feel like they're really spending a good hour of their time planning something, working on a project, whatever. And then I put on here smart introductions. I know a lot of you as membership folks are involved in onboarding or welcoming new people into your organizations or some way to connect to that. So smart introductions is just kind of a soft handoff almost to someone once you find a commonality. So it could be a professional commonality. You know, if someone comes in and says, I'm, you know, really, really interested in, you know, getting involved with, you know, local architects, I'm a budding architect or something, and you have someone in your club, that might be the introduction that you help make. Or it might be maybe not professional, and you know, they say, I love fishing, right? They come in and they talk about fishing, and then you kind of connect them with someone in your club who has similar interests, and kind of make a really conscious effort to make those smart introductions. Similarly, if it's just someone who's interested in learning something, I think this is a great tactic when you are getting younger professionals into your club to really find someone and kind of help make those really good, solid introductions to kind of build that value of their membership up a little bit. Does anyone have any other, I know Dana just put some cool ideas in the chat box. Anyone else have any other interesting things they're doing along these lines?
I can say with the workshop meetings, we've been trying to do that every now and then as part of our business meeting monthly with Athens Sunrise, and having breakouts, especially around membership, was really fruitful, and it got people interested in actually being part of a membership committee. So getting those workshop kinds of meetings are fantastic.
Yeah, I know in the past, so when we were meeting in person, our club, during finals week, like university finals week, we couldn't meet in our coffee shop because they stay open 24 hours during finals week so the students can go and study all night. And apparently the students who were studying for their finals were not fans of us coming in at 7 a.m. and being loud. So we started taking field trips during those weeks where we would, I mean, we toured the recycling center, you know, the ridges, we went into the old hospital, you know, we've done all these, I toured a community kitchen type place. But, you know, Dana mentioned kind of virtual tours, and I think that we could still, that'd be a cool thing to do. Even if you had somebody, you know, maybe they were running with an iPad through, and maybe that's what everybody was zooming as they were seeing, you know, through the, you know, for in Athens, everybody's all fascinated with the ridges, with all of those buildings up on the hills. So be kind of a cool idea. And then I'm just interested to hear if anyone's had a lot of success with fellowship opportunities post-COVID, because I think we're always looking for new ideas to keep people connected through fellowship. So does anyone have any great strategies that they've used? Dana?
I'd like to share that we're getting ready to start we're calling them 8x8s, if anybody has done that before, where if you feel comfortable having some people in your home, and it doesn't have to be 8 people, that you can socially distance and have them over for a meal. And then what we are asking is, like, the people that came as guests, then they reach out to some other people. And again, doesn't have to be 8 people, could be 3 people, and do the same, so that it, you know, hopefully it'll spread out enough. And, you know, we get to everybody at some point, and we're just trying to organize a little bit by what side of town you live on and things like that. So it's early. We've had one so far, but, you know, whenever something's happening, we try to put it in the newsletter, and, you know, does anybody want to be involved, and that kind of thing. There's a lot of people in my club still that just don't want to get together yet. So the people that do are participating, and then the rest are not yet.
Cool. Yeah, that's a cool idea. It kind of reminds me of like progressive dinners. Yeah, in my old Rotary Club, we did an annual progressive dinner where we, you know, kind of traveled from home to home for each course of the meal. It was really fun. Anyone else have any good fellowship ideas or tactics? Saying tactics seems kind of weird. Strategies. Okay, awesome. We'll move on. I wanted to briefly just talk about flexibility, because I hope that all of our clubs are, I mean, Rotary, you know, has, I think, permanently furloughed the Rotary police. There are no rules at this point. Maybe there's a couple, but you know, there's a lot of flexibility now, and it seems like Rotary is, just because it's not something that Rotary has thought of yet and a club thinks of it, and it seems like Rotary is really getting supportive of creative ways for people to connect with their members, from the club types, which I've spent a lot of time talking to Price about, all the different club types, but even taking advantage of flexible memberships. So there's really nothing that really isn't on the table. I know some clubs have had success with doing a reduced rate for younger people that are in, or younger professionals in Rotary. Some doing like corporate or business type deals to, you know, kind of package up membership for people who share an employer. But I've also heard really cool things like spouse partner memberships. So if you have, you know, two people in the same household that are joining, then maybe if they're both joining, there's a little bit of a discount or some sort of combined rate. Or family memberships. It seems like there's a ton of stuff that people seem to be having success with. So Dana, I know your club has a couple different membership types. Is that right?
We do. If you're under 40, it's like a prorated reduction. I don't know exactly how it works. And then we have is it R85? Yeah. And then everybody else is just the regular.
Just a flat rate. Anyone else doing anything that I didn't think to mention, or have heard of something you want to try? And I think too that if you are thinking about something, or you've, you know, surveyed members or talked to members and you think you might benefit from looking at a new membership type, but maybe you're, you know, don't really know how to bring that up with your board or your leadership, and you want more information or to hear from other clubs that are doing things like that, please reach out to me and I would be happy to help connect you with that information. Or if you need a template for a change in bylaw, you know, whatever, we can find those kind of things pretty easily. It's kind of a cool thing of being we're really connected, I think, to other districts and of course within with our clubs.
I mean, Jenny, if I could just,
I
mean, this is great. I think that there's a, you know, significant number of clubs have red badge programs for onboarding. You know, onboarding seems to be a topic, and I would think that with so many clubs right now interested in onboarding and having, you know, having either programs through red badge or others that they consider their onboarding, that maybe we have a, you know, a membership meeting. Maybe you do have that specifically talks about all of these different ways that clubs onboard new members, so that to get best practices.
That's
you know, let people hear about
the topic. November is
that is the next.
Yeah.
No, that's okay. So November you're doing that, yeah, because it seems to be
engaging new members.
Great. Thank you. Perfect.
Great minds. Okay. Then I wanted to talk about member recognition. And I don't mean necessarily with like awards, but cool things that I've seen happening. I know a couple of our clubs, I've seen like the Sunbury Galena's been doing this. I think Zanesville, you would do this too. But just kind of publicly recognizing member achievements. So if you have a member who was in, you know, the newspaper, or, you know, had a big professional, you know, whatever, kind of making a point to recognize that. Or I've seen, you know, Rotary anniversaries kind of just get mentioned in a meeting or give a little cheer. And I love, I know a number of our clubs do like member spotlights of just kind of getting to know a member a little bit better, either through your internal club newsletter, through activities in your meeting, or even on social media, just kind of spotlighting members. And I'm sure you all probably have ideas to add to this list, but one thing I want to caution, if you do something like this, kind of having a system in place to make sure that you don't overlook someone and kind of create hard feelings when someone is kind of, oh, my Rotary anniversary passed last month and no one even said anything. So I think for the most part, you just do your best, but, you know, kind of having a spreadsheet or, you know, having someone on your committee kind of be in charge, making sure that you don't accidentally, obviously no one would do that on purpose, but like accidentally leave someone off of something. Are there other member recognition things that you all are doing that we should add to this list? No, all right.
I had to step away from the computer for a second, but maybe you cover this under member spotlights, but our club likes to kind of bring to the attention when a club member has been picked up in the local news, and then usually they get fined. Yeah, that sort of thing.
I was just in the Pomeroy Middleport's club the other day doing a Polio Plus presentation on Tuesday, and they get a ton of coverage in our local newspaper. So there's this huge article in there. They were on the front page, all these pictures of them. So I think they went around and like took money from everybody. Everybody had to pay for being in the newspaper, but it was kind of cool. Awesome. The next thing is just kind of helping, particularly, we'll talk a lot about this in November probably when we talk about new members, but just helping to connect the dots in Rotary of, you know, when you really see how big it is. For those of you that were, if you were on the call on Tuesday, that's one thing Robin Webb mentioned, is just kind of really knowing that you're connected to more than 1 million people around the world who care about the same thing as you, is kind of a really cool thing. So I have a challenge. I know there aren't very many people on this call, but a challenge to each of you, and I will hunt down all the other membership chairs and challenge them as well. The challenge is to think about how you might get 100% of your members registered on My Rotary. So, you know, myrotary.org, and it's not automatic. While everyone who's a member of Rotary is going to be in the Rotary database, they all maybe haven't went in and created their profiles on My Rotary. So, and we'll talk more about strategies and stuff for that next month, because we'll be talking all about new members. But if you think about it, think about ways to talk to your clubs, to your members about it. And I know some clubs are kind of really getting people involved in this. And I have some ideas more at the, of communications that I could be sending out to help people. But does anyone have a system in place to help people get registered on My Rotary? Just kind of.
Jenny, this is Mary. In Zanesville, we actually took one of our meetings, and members brought in their laptops and things, and we had a little class on it. Showed everybody, you know, how to get in, to get logged in, and you know, to kind of to navigate around in there.
Awesome. Yeah, you had like computer lab day.
Yeah, we did. We actually had it at our high school in their computer lab.
Cool. And I would think now with a Zoom meeting, you could really get people on. Sorry, Chet, you were going to talk.
Yeah, so this October, because we have 5 Thursdays in the month, one of the Thursdays is going to be specifically about membership and how do people become members. Like, sometimes people who are Rotary members don't even remember how they became a member. So kind of going through all of that. And Jenny, that's a great, you know, we're going to be doing a presentation. So doing the My Rotary piece right there during that meeting would be a great way to meet that challenge.
Awesome. Chet's like, I'm going to win this challenge. I don't know what the prize is. I'll have to figure that out. If there's some sort of prize, if people get 100% of members on My Rotary.
I have a little prize stash that we purchased, that the district purchased. So let me know if you need some.
Yeah, something. I'll make you cookies and deliver them to you. But I mean, one, it's just nice to have them on there and, you know, kind of be putting their information in there. But when they log into there's so much they can do. That, I mean, they'll be able to access the Learning Center. There's a complete module on new members of kind of what are the top 5 things that a new member of Rotary should know. I'm in a couple of, there are chat groups through My Rotary. So I'm in a couple, I'm in the Women in Rotary one, which with Jennifer Jones getting confirmed today as the president nominee. That one was just, I was getting emails all day long of people posting about that one. But it's just kind of cool just to get in there, poke around, learn a little bit more. So kind of cool. So we'll chat in November. We'll have to have you report out on how it went. Okay, so as we're kind of wrapping up, I wanted to, you don't think of this as homework, but just think of this if you're kind of, all right, I want to shake it up a little bit. I don't really know what to do next. I would ask you to think of, one, I got a new swivelly chair. If you guys couldn't tell, I'm swiveling around a lot. I just keep noticing that I can't hold still. But what is one activity, event, or even procedure in your club where that could be an opportunity for member engagement? So, and remember, everything is an opportunity for engagement. So if it's, I think Jessica mentioned about the greeting, is that an opportunity to engage more people? Or if you're going to do a computer lab day, like, can you kind of plant a couple people to be, the champions of that? And so just think about that in your own club of just, one activity, one event. If it's a service project, is there a way to get a couple more people involved? Or I know a lot of clubs, and this isn't just Rotary, but a lot of organizations kind of have a core group of people who do every project and do every event. And so kind of thinking of ways you could pull more people into those things is one way that you could take action. From, oh yeah, Dana's in a district trainer chat. There's a membership chat as well. So tons of stuff on My Rotary. And then just think about to yourself or feel free to share too, but of all these examples, we kind of talked through these kind of buckets of engagement that I listed. Which one do you think would be easiest to either implement if you don't have it, or grow and improve in your club? And then kind of what would be the most challenging? Which ones do you need help with? Oh, and I mentioned about inviting and encouraging people to sign up for My Rotary. I'll be interested to hear everyone's creative ideas next month. I also challenge you to think about who else belongs on your team. I think, all of you mentioned kind of building and getting more people involved in membership and, kind of combing through those ideas. Of course, I would love for you to check out our district website because we have a whole section on maintaining engagement and membership tools. And then I listed my 2 favorite the things I'm like loving on Facebook, Rotary on Facebook right now. There is a Facebook group that you can join called Rotary Membership Ideas, and I hope that you will join that one. I also really love Rotary Connecting the World. And if you go to Rotary Connecting the World, you just search that and ask to join, but there's a subgroup of that, like, or a room in that or something, however they break it apart, where it's the view out my window. And it's just people posting pictures out their windows. And it's been the best conversation starter, just one of the coolest things. So think about, just ways to connect, see what other clubs are doing. Kind of that was what I hoped would happen tonight, was that you all would share ideas, which you did, and just hear what's going on. So, and then lastly, I put my information there. I think everyone should know how to get a hold of me, but if you have ideas, or if you're, sitting there saying, I want an example of a new member onboarding. I want an example of how you organize board buddies. I have been kind of trying to curate all of the best practices from around the district. So I'm happy to, if I don't already have it, I will find it and connect you to someone who knows a little bit more about that. So that's what I hoped we would cover tonight, and I appreciate all of you participating so readily. But are there any other things that we haven't touched on relating to creative engagement that you hoped we would talk about tonight?
Jenny, I wanted to share one thing and then ask one thing, if I may.
Please do.
The Rotary Masterclass in December is going to be on onboarding and orientation best practices. So if no one has reached out to you yet, Jenny, they will be. But she's also going to reach out to a few other clubs just to kind of resource some ideas, but it's really going to be about idea sharing. So we're hoping we'll get a lot of people from different clubs so we can get a lot of ideas.
Great.
The second thing,
I think I owe her another email. We had to reschedule the first time, but yes.
The second thing is related to that is we've been bumping around the idea of offering a district-wide orientation. Part of this stemmed from our club's orientation, my club's orientation. Like we get new members come in and we've got an orientation scheduled, and of course now it's on Zoom, but people don't come. And what we're going to try now is that, you know, we'll send them the invite with the Zoom link and tell them when it is and everything. And then one of our committee members is going to call them and say, you know, I just remind you, you got an invite to come to orientation and here's why it's important to come. And if you have any questions, because obviously there's a lot of great information in there, but we don't know why people aren't coming. Mm-hmm. What we talked about was if we did it district wide and maybe did it, you know, monthly, there'd be more people in the room and you could have more rich conversation and other people to talk to. And mm-hmm. we could share a lot of things at a general level, but when they ask questions specific to their club, that's an opportunity to say, oh, that's a good question for your membership chair, or that's a good question for your club president or whatever. So they'd have to reach back out to engage in some way. So I'm just curious what you all think about that idea.
Yeah, it's as you were saying that, I saw MJ smiling because she and I have had a couple of very recent conversations about trying to form like a welcome wagon within the district to kind of, you know, when someone joins any club, they get like an email from the district saying, welcome, here are 3 things to do in your first month, and then kind of on. But I love the idea of creating like even monthly or quarterly, like new member mixers almost. Yeah. To kind of, you know, share and meet each other and, you know, kind of just talk about that connection and stuff. And kind of lift the curtain, I think, too, on the district of, you know, hey, everybody, you know, everybody can attend the district assembly. It's not just your officers and chairs, like everybody can come to these things. Right.
Yeah, or the district masterclass, you know, everybody can come. Maybe we can talk offline at another time about what might be the best thing to try, because we can always tweak it based on our experience.
Yeah, I feel, you know, we're like making the plane as we fly it, so.
Okay.
I love that idea.
Good.
Any other last thoughts or anything? I hope this met your expectations of what you were hoping for when you opened my email. From our fearless G line, anything that any of you wanted to share before we signed off?
Is the PowerPoint going to be on Basecamp, in the Basecamp?
I don't know. I could put it on Basecamp. I was also just going to email it out to everybody along with the recording.
Okay, just, yeah, if you could email it, then don't, yeah. Just wanted, yeah, thank you. Just want, no, I thought it was, I really enjoyed it. I think these are really important topics, and, you know, things don't always, you know, hopefully the next one will get a few more people and a few more people, and pretty soon they'll be like, gee, why did I miss that? You know, so I think this is exciting.
Pretty soon there are 59 clubs represented. Wouldn't that be awesome?
Yeah.
Right.
Okay. Awesome.
Jenny, I just think this is a great opportunity for everybody to share ideas. And so anytime we can get together to share and kind of exchange and find out what everybody else is doing, I think it's great. So thanks to Chet and Mary and Dana and Jessica for being on the call, because I think as we you know, exchange those ideas, we can all try different things. And so and that's just going to improve membership and improve engagement. So thank you, Jenny, and thank you everybody for being on the call, because I think this was perfect. So, and it will grow. What's the saying? Like, you build it, they will come. They will come.
Just because you called on the G line, I now have to say something. I wish I had just a catchphrase. Like, would there be something you could say that had 2 similar sounding words you could put together, and that would capture everything that you, that idea, woohoo!
That'll work.
I love that I'm in a Zoom room full of Rotary nerds right now.
I'm actually sitting here ordering my Rotary Nerd T-shirt too.
Oh,
so.
good.
I was gonna say, I need one of those.
So Steve, did you send the link to everybody or not? Because Price, how'd you get the link to order it?
I don't know. It came up on my Facebook feed.
Oh,
So
well, maybe they've already started marketing it. Good.
awesome.
I put it on Facebook. I
Okay.
put that I ordered it on Facebook.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
luckily, Price has friended me at some point in his life.
It was a weak
And so-
moment.
So Jenny, that's from Bonfire, and it was
Yeah,
like you
I love
said, super easy.
Super easy. Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool. I'll get on
We've
it.
already made like $22 already. Just
Yeah, I love it. Awesome. Well, I know you all have lots of things to do with your time, so
Okay.
I appreciate you all spending this last
Thank
hour
you.
doing this. And hopefully I'll see you all in November on our call.
Absolutely.
Thanks so
Thank
much,
you.
Jenny. This was great.
Thanks, everyone.
See you, everybody.
everyone.
Jessica,
Thanks,
Chet,
Jenny.
Bye, everyone.
Mary, thank you.
See ya.
Senseo.
Have a great evening.
Have a
And
good
may I
night.
see you
Bye.
tomorrow?